my lord. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. I mean, come on. What? Why? Yeah, but all that spidery, there's nothing underneath. There's nothing there. It's comb over, like I said, comb over eyebrows. It's 68 degrees this morning. The sun is starting to peek out. So it's gonna go up. But right now, does this look crooked? It looks crooked. Well, it is what it is. This week I took some landscaping fabric and went around a couple of my smaller trees that were overtaken by weeds to try to kind of help them out, and maybe it'll kind of keep some moisture in there too. It's been very dry and hot, so like the ground is like rock and dusty. Also, I'll try to get back on track. I made just over here, actually, I made a new island flower bed. We'll talk about that. And if you remember, I used some reclaimed roofing tin to smother out a large area for a bed this spring. I got video of that. We were making this show back when that happened. Funny how that eventually comes back around. And today we're gonna plant something in it. Working on my second cup. Let's do this. So, yeah, so that island bed I was talking about, I transplanted a lot of native redbud trees around the yard. On one side, they are so piddly and obviously miserable. They just are, I mean, they are finally starting to grow after 5 years or something, but they're just pathetic. And then on this other side, for some reason, it did much better. And this one's growing pretty well. And I thought it's a sunny spot, yet it is under shade when the sun is high. So we call that partly shady, I guess. I want to make a bed there because a lot of things will do well there. It's over to the side, it's not in the way. I still have my nice broad green space, unlevel though it is. So I had some landscape fabric. I wanted to make a long bed. So I figured out I've got 2 lengths off of the roll basically that I could use to make this new bed. I'm going to let it kind of smother all the rest of the summer and into the fall, and then in the spring start to plant there. I've got this really cool, I guess you call it a boulder because it's almost too big to carry for one person to carry. It doesn't look that large, but it's very heavy. And I call it Jurassic Turd because it looks exactly like a cow pie, only dino sized. Welcome to Jurassic Turd. The thing is, I wanted to make a little extra room around the Jurassic Turd. I wanted to plant in front of it a little bit I didn't want it to take up the whole bed, you know, and not have any room around it. So I added a little bit around the border of Jurassic turd. And I wanted it to be an organic shape, so I didn't leave any right angles or sharp corners. I wanted the bed to be an organic shape. And it is. That's a shape you find in nature. So I'm out of landscape fabric now, and it is what it is unless I make it smaller, and then nobody will. No, not going there. I'm not gonna say it. So yeah, I'm still harvesting. Still harvesting tomatoes and green beans, and sunflowers are doing great in the garden. Some things are starting to slow down, but it's about time to start planting for my fall crop. So a lot of those beds that we've emptied out, you know, where the onions and the broccoli, the brassicas were, I'm thinking about, I don't know, it's still so scorching hot, I don't know if I can start the lettuces quite yet, unless I make some kind of shade contraption. Anyway, I'm putting some thoughts to my fall planting. I need to get some of that stuff started. But yeah, green beans are still going great guns. Tomatoes are still going. I think they're about to slow down. So yeah, I'm turning my attentions more toward the yard as the garden demands less. Not that I put a whole lot into it to start with. So yeah, let's go, now that you've been traumatized, over to the repurposed mulch bed that we did earlier in the season, and take a look, and I'll see you there. So if you remember from the spring when we covered all this area, I wanted to make more room for some lilies and irises. This area was leveled out. We're on, everything we've got is hillside, so we had to level out a spot to build a barn, which hasn't happened yet. But this is out in the barnyard along the edge, kind of where it starts to fall, and then we're obviously to the garden. So I'm hoping, because this clay and rock has been moved and it's on the edge, that it will drain decently. These irises are all, they've been here for generations already, so they're acclimated to this clay. But the thing about an iris is it doesn't like to be wet or it will rot. What I'm gonna do is take my potato fork and kind of lift them up so I don't break the roots too awful much. Then I'll clip the leaves so that they can stand still and kind of get established without being blown around. Those leaves, while they're tall, kind of act as a sail. And we usually have a lot of breeze through here in the summer. This is the time of year to do it because it's dry, and they'll have time to establish before all the fall rain happens. This cat. Doesn't need a lot of depth for these. Yes. If you were watching the spring, you probably remember I was given a bunch of irises or lilies, or yes, both, something. I put them back here, back in the play area by the tree house, just to kind of get them in the ground and I would come back to them later when I had a spot. Well, now I have a spot. On the way, here's my shade bed, kind of a woodland kind of thing going on. The deer never bothered my hostas before. We found them this year and they've kept coming back. I came up these old fan shrouds. The hostas are coming back, they're not nearly as big as they would have been. Didn't have room for didn't have a fan shroud for this one. But we brushed the dogs out, put dog hair around it. I've read that helps deter deer. Don't know. Worth a try. Bigger. They didn't really bloom a whole lot this year. Kind of open it up for everybody. Come on. Well, now that they have been trimmed and mostly separated, like these guys, come on, that'll work. I'm going to try to plant them in drifts of the same type. So there was like a small, medium, and good Lord sizes. So I can kind of tell them apart. But you know, now, I thought I got a bunch. But now that I've done all this, I'm gonna have a lot of extra space, I think. So, I might have to go back and get some more. But, really simple. The root part under the ground, rhizome on top. This, not only does it not act as a sail to kind of destabilize in the wind, but it doesn't have to use so much energy on the foliage anymore. It can concentrate on the roots. And since it's the dry part of the year, it can get established, and it's a little bit vulnerable, sure, but it's not vulnerable and soggy, which is double bad for the iris. And these are really tough. I normally don't pay attention to what time of year I do it. If someone has free ones, I get them, put them in the ground, and I've never killed them yet. But anyway, I'm gonna plant these up. It did look like I was making rows. I made 2 rows and then broke up in between. So all of this is kind of loose-ish. As long as I get the roots covered, I'm not gonna worry about it, and then I'll water it in. So how did last week's assignment go to just be an encourager? It made my week go a lot better. This week I say, extend grace. Let's make that the theme of this week. Even if people are hard to understand or like, just extend grace. Move on. I still say, if you don't like it, keep scrolling, you know what I mean? The irises are in. They are spread out more than their ancestors ever had the luxury. But I mean, it's gonna fill in, and gosh, they multiply so quick anyway. So I don't think it's gonna have time to get weedy. Yeah, anyway, we did it. It's not perfect, but it's done. Thanks for coming. See you next time. Life's what you make it. Let's get our hands dirty. No, I'm not going there. I'm not gonna say it. You got it. You're already there. I don't need to say it.